Krista, and this is my big sister, Stacey.
And this is Sister Social Call. Hey, sissy.
Well, hello there, sister. How are you?
Good. You were, just before I hit the record button, you were going to ask me how was my day, and it was very good. How was your day?
It was really good as well. Yeah, I'm finally starting to feel back to my normal self. So I've had a week of feeling a little sluggish, but also really grinding it out at work. So it's been a challenge. But yesterday and today, I'm like, woo, back on top. Let's go.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
yeah, feeling good about that.
Well, we want to welcome all of our listeners back to Sister Social Call and say a very special hello to all of our new listeners.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Sister Social Call. Thanks for joining us.
On this episode, Chrissy and I are catching up on all the things we have been reading and watching and our hot takes on each of them. We finished reading the Rebel Blue Ranch series. We have watched Love is Blind. I watched Drive to Survive. And Chrissy has been deep diving a new series called Age of Attraction. So let's start off with our latest Slow Readers Book Club selections. We finished Book 3, Lost and Last Stewed, and Book 4, Wild and Wrangled. Like first two books in the series, the Rebel Blue Ranch series, these books also followed friends and family members as they hook up. In Book 3, we have Grumpy Gus, the oldest of the kids, hook up with Teddy, Emmy's bestie. And here is the Goodreads book description of the book. Teddy Anderson doesn't have a plan. She's never needed one before. She's always been more of a go-with-the-flow type of girl, but for some reason, the flow doesn't seem to be going her way this time. Her favorite vintage suede jacket has a hole in it, her sewing machine is broken, and her best friend just got engaged. Suddenly, everything feels like it's starting to change. Teddy's used to being a leader, but now she feels like she's getting left behind. Wondering if the life she lives in this small town she loves is enough for her anymore. Gus Ryder has a lot on his plate. He doesn't know what's taking care of his 8,000-acre ranch or parenting his spunky 6-year-old daughter who is staying with him for the summer. Gus has always been the dependable one, but when his workload starts to overwhelm him, he slips up and he has to admit that he can't manage everything on his own. He needs help. His little sister's best friend, the woman he can't stand, is not who he had in mind. But when no one else can step in, Teddy's the only option he's got. Teddy decides to use the summer to try and figure out what she wants out of life. Gus, on the other hand, starts to worry that he'll never find what he needs. Tempers flare, tension builds, and for the first time ever, Gus and Teddy start to see each other in different light. As new feelings start to simmer below the surface, they must decide whether or not to act on them. Can they keep things cool, or will both of them get burdened? And the last book saw Cam and Dusty hook up. Goodreads sums up this book by the following. Camille Ashwood had always loved a plan. Her latest was her best yet. She was going to get married so she could secure her daughter's future, get her overbearing parents off her back, and finally start building her own life in a small town, Wyoming. When her groom doesn't show up to the wedding, Cam's life is suddenly turned upside down. She doesn't even have a place to live. That is until she finds out the house she's loved since high school is available to rent. There's only one problem: the neighbor. Dusty Tucker has spent nearly all his adult life running. Running from what, though? More like who? Cam Ashwood. But ever since he returned home last year, the girl who was his first, well, everything, has become a woman seemingly determined to keep him at arm's length. And he was okay with that. At least that's what he kept telling himself. She was getting married after all. But now she's single and living next door. Dusty wants to show her that they can be friends and that he can stay put. Despite her best attempts to stay far away from Dusty, Cam realizes that being close to him is like slipping on her favorite jeans. Easy, comfortable. That is until past wounds start to open and feelings, both old and new, wreak havoc. Nearly 10 years after they first met, Dusty and Cam begin to wonder if their first love can also be their last. Whew. So those are books 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Like the first two, I adored them. I adored these other to the final two books. It was just such a lovely escape, and I am just so grateful that this was my first introduction to the romance genre.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole entire series as well. I thought they were all just so cute, easy reads, but these last two I really enjoyed. Yeah, I would say for anybody wanting to read a romance novel, these ones would be a great way to get your feet wet for sure.
My favorite book actually was probably the first book in the series, Done and Dusted.
The first one.
Yeah, I really liked like this book followed Emmy and Luke, and I think it was my fave because I was just getting introduced to the family and the ranch and a
Yeah.
really sweet love story, and then each book after that just brought in other family members and friends into the love stories, and I kind of understood what the flow and the format was going to be for the final three books, but they're all special in their own unique ways and the different relationships that were highlighted. So, and they were kind of all kind of forbidden. It was in the first book, it was the little sister and the best friend. Second book
Yes.
was second brother and it was Ada, so he had hired her to do work in
Right.
their house. So that was a work romance that started off, and that one it started off very spicy. That book,
Yeah, that was quick
that was a real spicy start to that one. And then the
because
third,
they were connecting in the bar. And
exactly
then
the
she went to work and he was her boss.
yes, yeah, yeah. And then the third book, it was the little sister's best friend and the oldest brother. There was like they made fun of each other, and there was just lots of tension between the two. And then the last book was First Loves. And they were all
Yeah.
kind of a little bit not forbidden, but like we know those storylines in life.
Yeah, totally. I'm trying to think of which one was my favorite of them all. I don't know if I had a favorite of them all. I did really like the last one. I did like that one. Where she got left at the altar and
Mm-hmm.
I like that one, but I don't know, I really enjoyed all of them. I can't really say one was a favorite, one was not. I just thought they were all so good and they all totally kept me reading. Like once I would start reading, it
Mm.
would be hard to put the book down.
Did you read any of the books in public?
I took one of the books with me to the car place when I was leaving or going to take my car in. And I thought I was just going to wait there while they did a quote on it. Yeah, I just waited there. And so I brought the book with me.
I had the last book on the airplane with me flying to Victoria, and the person beside me decided to ask me what I was reading.
I love this for you because this is almost like your worst nightmare coming true.
But I was like, "Oh, I'm reading a cowboy romance." And she's like, "Oh."
You owned it.
I did. I
Yay.
totally owned it. Yeah, but
Good
I was
job.
like reading the last little bit of it and it, like while they're hooking up, but in that last third of the book.
It's a little
And I'm
hot
like,
and
it's a little
steamy.
spicy in the air on the airplane. I'm holding the book like kind of open, weird, awkward because I don't want her to see what I'm reading, but also the front cover has the characters like embracing and kissing each other and it's kind of cartoonish. I'm like, my goodness.
Oh my gosh, you are so funny. That is not something I even give two shits about. It's so funny how we think about those things differently, but I'm very proud of you. You've come a long way from,
Yeah.
first of all, being afraid to buy a romance novel in your local bookstore to rolling around in public on airplanes, close quarters, reading your book.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing. Well, good
yeah,
job.
I thought you'd like that story about reading the romance novel on the airplane. I plowed through that last section really fast in the
Plowed
book.
through it. Good job. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. Did you read anything while you were in Thailand, sis?
I read the Eat, Pray, Love book. I felt like it was very fitting for the trip that I was on. And I think my friend Kim, when I was talking about doing this trip, she said to me, she said, "Have you ever read the book Eat, Pray, Love?" I said, "No, I've never read the book. I watched the movie like forever ago." She's like, "You gotta read the book. It's so much better." And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna read the book while I'm on this trip because it's kind of like an Eat, Pray, Love trip a little bit. But so I read that book. It's older. It's a great book, and I really enjoyed the whole book. I finished it while I was on my trip, but it was the only book that I actually read. I had my Kobo. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it. It's about this woman who um her marriage fails and she goes on this takes like a sabbatical and goes on this trip for a year. There was moments in it that I could very much see myself in it. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this seriously feels like me right now." What about you? Have you squeezed anything else in your late?
No, I finished the Rebel Blue Ranch series, but I'll tell you about the book that I'm about to read, and then I'm going to tell you about our next Slow Readers Book Club selection. So I'm about to start another book that Juliana Wager recommended to us. It's called Not in My Book. And here is the summary of this little romance novel. Rosie Maxwell has to move to New York to get her creative writing degree from NYU, become a best-selling romance novel writer. But the plan is derailed when she ends up in a class with her arch nemesis and ex-crush Aidan Huntington, an obnoxious, surly, unreasonable, gorgeous literary fiction writer who has no patience for romance or for Rosie. Exhausted by Rosie and Aidan's constant verbal sparring, their professor has them leave class or create a novel that blends their respective genres. As Rosie and Aidan collaborate on their accidentally steamy novel, they try to put their differences aside. Could their manuscript in progress be just the outlet they need to confess their feelings and explore their mutual attraction? But a potentially career-changing opportunity soon reignites the flames of their old rivalry. Rosie and Aidan's once-in-a-lifetime love story is once again at risk of being shelved, unless they can find their way to end the book on their own terms. So I'm really excited to read another romance novel, Chrissy.
Well, I'm a little surprised that you're diving deep back into another romance novel so quickly. But,
They
you
were
know,
so easy to read, the last four, that I'm like, another one. And Juliana gave us good recommendations, so I'm going to keep on with her recommendations. Keep on reading them.
I'm taking a break from that right now.
It's okay. But our next book that we have decided to read is called Between Sisters by Kristen Hanna. And so this book, the review says, we all make mistakes, but for Megan Dantas, the terrible choice she made some years ago cost her everything, including the love of her sister Claire. Megan is now a highly successful attorney and has put all her thoughts of love completely behind her until she meets the one man who believes he can change her mind. Claire has fallen in love for the first time in her life, and as her wedding day approaches, she prepares to face her strong-willed older sister. Reunited after 2 decades, these two women who believe they have nothing in common will try to become what they never were, a family. Tender, funny, bittersweet, and moving, Kristen Hanna's Between Sisters skillfully explores the profound joys and sorrows she in a close relationship, the mistakes made in the name of love, and the promise of redemption. So that's what's on our horizon.
And the reason for that one is that it was a gift to me by my friend Kim. She gifted that to me at Christmas time. And so I want to read it. So I figured, well, I got this book, so we should do it as our Slow Readers Book Club book. So
Yeah.
thanks, Kim, for the prezi, and we're gonna read it.
Yeah.
We're gonna read it now.
There's no more fitting book of reading a book called Between Sisters for
Yeah,
us
well,
sisters.
that was kind of her thought when she gave it to me. She's like, you know, you guys have your podcast, so I want to get you this book. And she reads a ton too. So thank you,
Awesome.
Kim, for that. Appreciate you, girl.
Okay, let's change gears, Sissy, and talk about what we're watching, but let's start with Love is Blind.
Okay, well, as you all know, I love Love is Blind. I'm a hopeless romantic. I love love, and I also love a little drama, and she's me. So that's not in my life. Not in, like I like it on TV. Best place for it. I'm always excited and eager to see who are in the pods and get to meet the cast and who the people are and all that jazz. This year, I was pretty hopeful coming out of the gate. There was lots of really interesting people on there. Also, some really funny, like, just characters. I love it. I always say the more weird somebody is, the more I like them. Yeah, I really enjoyed this season, as I always do. there was some really great couples on there this year, I thought. There was Vic and Christine.
Mhm.
There was Jordan and Amber, Alex and Ashley. There was actually so many engagements on this one that one couple actually couldn't go on their hot trip because they only had like budgeted for 6. So then they sent, or had like the space for 6. So they sent Vic and Christine off to Miami or something, right? Is that where they went?
I don't think it was Miami, but yes, they were not
They
with
went
the
somewhere
rest of the group.
else. Yeah. So then there was Connor and Bree, and then Devontae and Brittany, Mike and Emma, Chris and Jessica.
Yeah, so let's start off with Vic and Christine. They were the first to get engaged in the pods.
Yeah. They're beautiful. I really loved their love from get-go. They just had
Yeah,
this whole vibe going on, like, really great.
they really put God in the center of their relationship, and they were very grounded from the get-go, and they're happily
Yes.
married.
Yes, and that was a joy to watch. The whole thing, and even still, of course, I'm on TikTok and I get going down the rabbit hole of Love is Blind. I really love to see where people are at still. They're still rocking it, doing life like they were just meant to be. That was their love story, so that was really cool.
Mhm.
Love that.
Okay, Jordan and Amber, they got married in the Love is Blind, but then they got divorced 4 months after.
Yeah, I kind of thought she was a bit of a train wreck from go, and then I kind of thought he was just not ready for marriage. I just had that vibe the whole time. So, it was kind of playing with fire the whole time. She had a child. He wasn't really super down with that, but then kind of like went against what he originally was feeling and was like, no, to hell, heck with it. I'm going to be with this woman that has a child. And then I did not think that was a good idea.
Yeah. And then at the reunion, she walked off stage.
Cringy. Oh, I was just, no, Amber. I did not love that.
I didn't love the dueling out their breakup. I don't know if the world needs to hear the details.
But that always happens on the reunions. There's at least one person that happens with, where they air out their dirty laundry on the show. I thought he had like some good points when they were talking about it there, but that's too bad because I do think she was really there to try to find a husband and to find a good long lasting love. So I feel bad for her for sure. Like, I think that her probably seeing the show will help her navigate some therapy. Do a little hard work there, because you can kind of see the writing on the wall with that one. That was just a little bit going to be a little bit of a challenge. And then there was Alex and Ashley. Ooh, that one's been a hot topic in the world of media for sure. People are ragging on him big time, and he definitely was
It was
iffy for
sketch.
sure. A lot of things didn't really line up. It was like he was trying, I don't know, he wasn't super honest, as everybody says, but I kind of felt the whole time that they were together, there wasn't this really strong connection. You weren't thinking, oh my gosh, these two are totally meant to be together. It was kind of a challenge to watch them the whole time. It's like, just stop. Like, stop what you're doing. But what also pissed me off about them is her at the altar. I thought that was uncalled for. I don't think in anything that he did in the whole time, not that we see, but I didn't think he was being malicious or being a dink. Not that we, like, yes, maybe he wasn't being truthful and honest, whatever. We only saw what the producers wanted us to see. But for her to get up there and wait to go to the altar to say that, I thought, this is all too showy, and it was like she was performing for her dad, and I thought that was icky. If you didn't like the guy, you should have just said straight up. So I could kind of tell the whole time that she was not gonna say yes, and it was like she was brewing up this whole plan to like just be a total asshole. And I don't know, I'm sorry, but no matter what, I just don't think you should be like that to people.
Mhm.
Like, or yeah, I don't know. I didn't love that whole thing at the end. I wasn't like rah rah sister, you know? I wasn't like that. I didn't love it.
He was untrustworthy during
Yeah.
the recording, and then he was super defensive at the reunion. If you have nothing to hide, there's no reason to be this defensive. Moving on, Connor and Bree.
Oh, I I really respected her, her like saying, "You know what? I'm not ready to get married."
Mhm.
I love that they're still together and that they're doing their own thing and figuring it out and making it work and, navigating that. I love that. I love them both. I think it's great.
Yes. I think he's been so steadfast in his
Yes. I was like, if she's not gonna take Connor, I'm going after him.
the way that the production made it seem they were breaking up, but her conversation going like, people are here to teach you things and, you might be here to teach me what does love feel like. And I thought that was very reflective of her.
Yes.
And because she hasn't had that kind of a partner that has I don't want to say he's in the background, but he's just a constant rock. And I know exactly what that feels like.
Yes. Yeah, definitely, which I think is amazing. Like, I just really admire that about him and even just recognizing, this is gonna be a little bit of work, but I'm here for it. I came to the show to fall in love and I fell in love with you. I'm here for it. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Devo and Brittany.
Oh, I couldn't stand the guy from Go.
I'm just curious to know the rest of his story
Yeah. Very
because
interesting.
yeah, exactly. Like it was, my spidey senses were up, but I don't
For
know why.
sure. For sure. When they first got to did they go to Mexico? I never remember these
Yeah.
little details. When they first get there and he was very closed off from her and, I didn't love that.
He is engaged and has a baby on the way in real life now.
I know. I saw that. My lord. And he lives with Alex.
Yeah. Well, birds of a feather flock together.
Truly, truly. Okay, next up, Mike and Emma.
Hmm.
It was when you met them, you weren't thinking this was super solid. He needed the reassurance that she wanted to have children. She kind of always said she wasn't sure about that. It wasn't on her, like, it wasn't a must for her. And he needed that reassurance. And I don't blame him. That's a big thing. If
Hmm.
one person wants it and the other one doesn't, he also didn't want to make her feel pressure,
Hmm.
but she, the whole time, never really straight up said, yeah, actually, I will have children with you. And then assume that her saying yes at the altar was he should have known that was her saying yes to kids. Well, that's not fair. You have to be straight up and say, you know what? Yes, I do want to have a family with you. You can't just assume that they're going to read between the lines because for something like that, that's not something you should have to read between the lines.
Yeah, 100%. I just always felt like their relationship was kind of like putting a round peg in a square hole.
A little
Like
bit,
it just
yeah.
didn't ever feel like it fit really well together.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, for sure. And then Chris and
Oh,
Jessica.
you
Oh,
start. You start.
I don't even know. He was terrible. He was awful. I mean, you guys, he basically said that he didn't like Jessica or like wasn't attracted to her because she didn't do Pilates. He's mostly attracted to girls that are into Pilates and CrossFit. She's a beautiful, intelligent, kind, loving human. And oh, he blew it. Let me tell you. And yeah, anyways, she deserves so much better than him. No, he was no good. No good all around. No good.
No good all around. Where was the bro code? Like just out there talking
Yes.
trash behind the scenes about Connor and like they were supposed to be really good buds in the
In the
in the show.
pods.
Yeah, in the pods, and
Yeah.
scoundrel.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought Nick Lachey did a Nick Lachey did a great job of just cutting to the chase about the problem that Chris had in this relationship. Just was super pointed in his criticism of him.
Yeah.
And it was so well, like, it was deserved. Like, you cannot go and body shame anybody, but somebody that was Jessica, who was stunning and, like you said, super intelligent. She's a doctor, a totally established woman, does not need a man. She's out there, like, to support her. She is out there doing her thing, can support herself. She's independent. And I think the discussion about his being
Insecurities.
insecurities, yeah, like, that just really hit home, I think. And
Yeah.
I really hope that he takes the time to reflect on everything. And he did look remorseful. I thought when the camera was on him at the reunion, like, he looked like he was going to cry the whole time.
Yeah, he really did. He didn't look comfortable, that's for sure, but he shouldn't. He shouldn't have
No,
been comfortable.
no. I was so happy, though, to see that Jessica and Harmol are now in a very serious, loving, kind relationship. And
Yeah, and he really pumped her tires at the reunion, which was amazing. He just
yeah,
like,
and his social media presence is just so wonderful, too. He is a
yes, yes,
good, positive human being.
yeah, I love that too. That's a great connection. So, yeah, well, that, I mean, pretty much sums up Love is Blind. So, if you guys haven't watched the whole thing, you might want to get on it now that we've
Spoiled everything.
spoiled it all.
Yeah. Okay, what else are you watching, sis? Do you wanna tell us a little bit about
Oh,
Age of
I
Attraction?
just started watching Age of Attraction, which I don't even know if I can watch it. I don't
Whoa!
know. I don't know. I watched an episode last night again, so I've watched the first 2 episodes, and it's basically a dating show where these people all get together and they don't know each other's ages, and then they can get taken to the promise room, and if they promise whatever to, like, move forward in this experiment, then they can tell each other their ages, and the first woman was 54 and the dude was 27. And I don't know if I can get behind this show. Yesterday on the episode, there's a man, like a girl, she's 27 and is dating this guy who's 60. That's 33-year age gap. That's a
Yeah.
bigger age gap than her age. I don't know. I don't know about this show. But now it's like I can't stop now. You know? And it's just like I don't know. Anyways, I might watch an episode tonight while I just eat some supper here, but I don't know. It's got me feeling all kinds of weird shit. Like I'm not comfortable watching it, but then I'm like it's just like one of those things I gotta see through now to see because they go meet the pair, they go meet the families and stuff. And I'm like, and like they have kids that are, it's too much.
Do you think you have an aversion to large age differences because mom was married to somebody that was 23 years older than her? We've gone through this in our own life.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's why per se. At first, we thought it was kind of weird, but then he's turned out to be a good guy, so we liked him. And whatever, did they end up getting divorced? Carry on, like life goes on. But I mean, I don't think all age gaps are weird, but there's like a certain amount of age gapping that I think it's just becomes when are you the parent and when are you the child? Like where, like, that kind of weird role where it's like, how can a 27-year-old have anything in common with a man that's 60 years old? Come on. I don't know. I just don't know. And then as a 27-year-old, what? Why do you want somebody who's that much older than you that realistically, your life together is not long for this world? I hate to say it, but 20 years max, maybe a little long. Like, but when you
Mhm.
think about it, like, it's just a lot of things come up when I'm watching this, and most of the time I feel very uncomfortable. But I can't not. It's so weird. But it's a good it gets my brain thinking about all kinds of weird shit, and it gets me off whatever day-to-day life junk. So I'm watching it. I confess, I am watching this show.
Mhm.
Don't take my advice and watch it. I'm not saying that.
The feelings that you have is kinda how I feel about Love Is Blind. It makes me feel kinda icky watching it, but once I'm in, I'm like, "Well, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Don't
really how I
really
feel.
love this awkwardness, but watching it."
Yeah, I feel that about this Age of Attraction. So I'm not suggesting you watch it. However, now if you've listened to this, you're gonna be like, shit, I gotta go watch it just to
Yeah.
see what she's talking about. And then you're gonna be hooked in. And oh, anyways, I apologize now. If anybody listening ends up into it, I'm gonna say sorry, but we can talk about it sometime and hash it out. But what are you watching, sis?
Sean and I just finished Drive to Survive. We've talked about this on the podcast before that Sean and I are big F1 fans, and we've been F1 fans long before Netflix started producing Drive to Survive. Anyways, it's always great for me to watch the new season right before the new racing season starts because it just kind of reminds me of all the drama-rama from the season before and gets me ready for the new racing season. And I would love to know, actually, if any of our listeners are also F1 fans,
Well, you're gonna have
because
to put a poll out on social media.
I will have to. Yeah, because I would be curious to see who is actually F1 watchers. This season has been there's been 2 races already and they have been exciting. Anyway,
So
so I look forward to the rest of the season.
awesome.
Okay. So that's what we've been watching. Maybe we should turn it over to our peaks, pits, and plans to see.
Okay.
Do you want to go first this week? I went first last week.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
I can go first. I actually have some things written down.
Oh,
I had that. I knew that was happening. Okay. So for my pits, I have a pit. We have some more bullshit going on with our dad. And so that is my pit. But I'm going to talk about it maybe next week. I'm going to do an
oh,
episode on it. And then we'll have a conversation about it because now I feel I'm in the position where I'm ready to talk about it. So moving into my peaks now, my first peak is that on Monday we had a phone call group meeting with my women's group. So that was really awesome to see. Most people were on, not everybody, but it was nice to see everybody and have this phone conversation. I'm a little behind because I missed 2 weeks of the group. So I need to get back. I need to go watch the Zoom calls and just check out what we're all kind of talking about. But we're kind of getting into like parts of working with like sexuality and our bodies and that kind of thing, which is very exciting to me. So we just had a kind of a conversation about that. And so that was really great. Amazing. I forgot to tell you guys about this though. When I was boarding the plane, my plane was 20 minutes delayed leaving to Thailand. And I kid you guys not, my women's group, they FaceTime me as I was boarding the
uh,
plane in the group. They were all there and they were wishing me like, have the best trip, like amazing. Just, and as soon as I got that phone call from them, I just was like, oh, so it was amazing. I was literally boarding the plane and they all called me from group. So that's a freaking amazing group of women I have in my, and I don't talk about them a whole bunch anymore. We're just doing some really deep, deep personal work. So anyways, okay. So that honestly being home is a peak for me too, because as much as I love getting away, I really love my life and being home and being in my community. So it's been great to be back and endless kitty cat snuggles. And then of course, like everybody at the salon and all the people around me, they just are so amazing. You never know how loved you are until, well, like I know that I'm loved, but when I came back, people were just like, we are so happy you're home and that you had a great trip. Like we were worried about you.
oh,
I'm so thankful for everybody. So it's just nice to be home. And then I have one more peek, and that was yesterday. I have a lifelong friend, Matt is his name, and we have been friends since we were in elementary school together. And our lives have ebbed and flowed together and apart and together and apart and together and apart. But he's always been, a friend of mine. unfortunately, we hadn't talked for quite a few years. Just some things had kind of happened. He reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and anyways, he booked a haircut. And when he came in to get his haircut, it was just like we had never not seen each other, and it was really amazing to see him. He's doing so good, and he looked so good, and it was just like, those people in your life that it just always feels right. It was like that. So, I know he hasn't listened to the podcast yet, but I tried to convince him yesterday to get onto it. But his mom listens to the podcast, so she's always saying to him, "Have you listened to the podcast?" He was telling me this. I didn't even know that I missed him so much, but when I got to see him, I realized I did.
He is a brother from another mother, Pat, but yes, he has been a huge part of our lives.
Yes, forever. That was really wonderful. That happened yesterday. Okay, anyways, and plans. Okay, I'm going for brunch with Kelly on Sunday, so that'll be great. I have a meeting at the university on Monday, so that's my back to school meeting. And then I meet with Zena on Tuesday. And I think it is on Wednesday morning. I found these like lumpy, bumpy things. Like one's underneath my, like basically below my sternum, and one is to the right of that. I had a doctor's appointment on Monday, not for that, but I told her about it, and they got me in for an ultrasound already like on Wednesday. So I got that happening. And then we'll be recording the podcast. So there's that. So what about you, sister?
Hits. Well, Christy basically summed it up that we're dealing with some shit still. Anyways, peaks.
In all fairness, we want to be transparent in our podcast. And this has been something that's been going on for a whole entire year. And it's been affecting our lives. And we haven't talked about it. But now we're going to.
All right, peaks. Well, I got back Friday, as I said on the last podcast, and Saturday, Christy and I recorded. But I went skiing Saturday and Sunday. The conditions were so good. It was amazing to go skiing with Laura for 2 days in a row. I love a good groomed run. I'm not a powder skier. That is hard work.
It's hard.
I love a beautiful groomed run. And Laura and I got out early. We were, in some of the times runs, we were like literally first tracks down there. It was so awesome.
Ooh, that's amazing.
It was so good. And then we went for a hot spring on Sunday afternoon. The boys came up to the ski hill. The four of us had lunch, and then we went for a soak. So that's always like my peak living in the mountains. I don't know, just walking, getting some kilometers in for the Motion is Lotion. Plans. It is Sean's boss's birthday weekend. So there is a mountain biking movie premiere that the boys are all going to. And then we are going to have a party at their house afterwards.
Cool.
So that is what is happening this weekend. I don't think anything else is going on. Just going to the gym.
Regular life.
Going for walks. I'm not planning to ski this weekend because I think it's too warm to ski now at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, you guys, as you know, if you like the episode, please share with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to our podcast. All that good stuff, because the more that you do that, the more you engage, all that goodness, the more our podcast gets pumped out to more listeners. Thank you guys all for listening. If you want to find Stacey, you can find her on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can find Sister Social Call on Instagram, and you can find myself, Krista, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I think that's going to wrap it up for us, sissy.
Awesome. Love you, sis.
Love you too, sis.